All right, let's get back to the show. Our guest tonight is Craig Groethe. His website is called DreamClassGuide.com. His book, Sleeping with Your Eyes Open, Warning Dreams. Again, Craig, thank you so much for taking a couple hours out of your weekend to be here with us.
Not a problem. It's what I do.
Let's pick up, we had to go to news. Let's pick up,
Yep.
Harv called in and talked about enhancing oneself with physical, with either, well, in his case, he tried some peyote. Some people, they talk about when they drink, things can go a little wild. What about things like that? What about hallucinogens, such as alcohol or medicine or drugs or what have you? What's the effects and implications?
With any mood-altering drugs, whether they're prescriptions or non-prescriptions, my comment is this, basically. There is so much that you can find in dreams that you don't need a mood-altering drug to help get you there. Dreams are so deep, and so it's just a matter of paying attention. And maybe some people think they need to have their mood altered to get or to have hallucinogenic drug to see something they haven't seen before. But I tell you this, just in your natural mind, or just naturally speaking, just by starting to pay attention, your dreams themselves would tell you about so many realities and truths and things and answers and secrets and mysteries that you certainly don't need that. I certainly haven't had any need for that. And actually, sometimes mood-altering drugs can make it very difficult to interpret someone's dream because they can cloud the issue more than help.
Do you think, though, that they can, now it's true that they can cloud, but do you think that in some ways they could enhance or open barriers, or do you feel that no, we're talking just dreams now.
Yes.
Do you think it could drop some barriers? I mean, just with alcohol, it depends on the individual. Some people can have a few drinks and they loosen up and they're fun, and then there's other people that tighten up and get mean.
Right. Well, it's like I've done it back in the days, especially I've done a little smoking of a certain herb, and all I do know is this, is that I would write and journal things that I was experiencing, and when I came out of that, I realized, it really wasn't as cool as I thought. So, I'm not putting that down at all. I'm just saying that you can, there's certainly things that people have seen and found that maybe, have to do with reality and some things that were found. But my main premise is that dreams themselves are a drug of sorts, because in the sense that they're so profound of something beyond yourself that. But if having a few drinks helps you, find or helps you get some dreams and get something out of them, that the proof's in the pudding, I guess. And but there's enough in dreams themselves, is what I'm just saying, that I haven't found it necessary to go to that. But again, I just haven't observed or experienced too much in that realm to be able to talk about it any more intelligently.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's get to some of the questions, and then we want to talk about your book. Question from Bill is, I believe this is from our friend Bill in upstate New York. It says, can Craig explain the persons or places we see in dreams, but have never seen these people or places ever in real life?
Okay. Sure. Dreams are somewhat like movies, and there are star roles, and then there's just fill-in parts of people you don't know and you never will. I will say this, for those who would believe in angels per se, I will tell you that sometimes you might find in your dream, and this is, comes into some of my own bias and belief, but you'll find in your dream there's a stranger that may walk with you throughout a dream that you may see, and you may even recognize this person, or you say, this person seemed familiar to me. And I just have wonders that if this might not be some type of an angelic being, or possibly a guardian angel, something that you do recognize in dreams, and it's really because this is a spiritual or psychic presence that you have and walk with throughout your life, so to speak. So that's one dimension. The other thing about these other people, indeed, there have been times where you may meet this other person that you do see. I did a radio interview up in Duluth, Minnesota, prior to doing a class, and so the people knew that I was coming in town to do a 2-day dream class. And right after the radio interview, I walked out in the hallway, and this one woman came into the radio station, ran up these stairs, and looked at us, and my wife and myself, and said, "Are you the dream interpreter guy and his wife?" And we said, "Yes, we are." And she says, "Yeah, well, it makes sense because you're the ones I saw in my dream, and I knew you're coming." So she literally saw the likeness of my wife and I in her dream 2 days earlier, and she had known that we were coming to do a dream class, but she saw what we looked like. So, if that helps, it's kind of like anything is possible, and anything that can happen does happen. Even like Harv says that he finds some of the things for, what did he say? How did he say that? With his, he figures things out. And many times there are answers and all kinds of things that can really help you along in life. It's nuts. I could go on for hours with different stories of this stuff.
You want to take another call?
Sure will.
Maybe it's Harv. Let's see. Caller, good evening. Welcome to K-Talk.
It is me, and I'm sorry, I'm like a bad flu. You just can't get rid of me. The reason I called back is because what you guys were just discussing. This is actually my main, talk radio, and the real reason I called is because there's more to it. There's so much more to it that I've invented things for my dreams.
Really?
And, oh, absolutely, yes. And it dawned on me a long time ago. It sure just who was that guy? He was he worked for a president. I don't know. Think and Grow Rich.
Sure. Okay.
Napoleon Hill. He goes through these things, these steps in there, and I think that it comes from outside you. I mean, some of it's psychological, part of the brainstem and all that, the medulla and all along. But I think some of it just comes from someplace else.
Right.
I don't have that kind of education. I don't.
Neither do I, Harv. Well, listen, Harv, you brought up another good point there. With even like you said, with inventions, I believe what you say. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. Most of those, his theory of relativity was inspired by a dream. There's James Watson and Francis Crick discovered the structure of DNA partly through a dream.
Actually, I heard they were on acid, but whatever.
Well, whichever. Okay. But first I haven't heard that.
Look, I'm not a big drug freak, and I'm not a. Of course, I don't ski anymore. I just turned 60 yesterday,
right.
So the only time I smoke pot is when I ski.
Right.
And I don't
my point, whether they were on acid or whatever, my point is there's famous people who've even found inventions and whatever through dreams that have made them millions of dollars.
I'd say mostly.
Right. Particularly complex questions that they have when they get into a problem area, and they just are wondering and pondering on this next thing they have to discover to even finish an invention, and then they get the answer. The sewing machine was invented by mostly through a dream. What's the bow and arrow? There's a certain kind of bow and arrow that was invented by a
compound bow.
Yes,
compound.
He got that through a dream. I
heard that. And
the guy is a millionaire many times over. So the point is, dreams can be profitable even. They can, like I said, I happen to be in this sideline business, and my wife's in teaching and so forth, and doing the things based on our dreams. We're walking right down the road of our dreams.
To tell you the truth, I think that this is the most important uncharted.
Yeah, uncharted.
Even though a lot of people, there's been people like, regression people and that sort of thing. People have tried to broach the subject, but it's so complex that I think it's the most important thing that we don't know about.
Right. Harv, I've done some classes at churches and, in the area.
Exactly. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to say that, religions and Christianity, for instance, in America, in my mind, is way behind because they've ignored dreams, which are also biblical. But if they would focus in on dreams as well, they would come into a greater existence and a greater lifestyle
the religious teachers should be teachers on how to do it yourself instead of holding the power of their own self.
Well, that's right. And what I'm saying is there is certainly supernatural in dreams because it's not natural. And here we are talking.
Man, there's something there.
Yeah, and here religious organizations talk about things naturally, but don't get into some of the supernatural stuff. But or the point is, it's biblical, and yet it's not pursued, and it's really, really something that has really made a regression, I believe, in a lot of the major religions in this world.
Regression is a key word. Here's the thing. I'm gonna grow all the food, and then I'll delve it out to you at my leisure. Well, the truth about the matter is, teach a man to fish.
Exactly. Sure. Yep. Very much so that.
Hey, Harv, I'm going to let you go. I got a couple
I
other
dig you, brother, man. Thanks for being there. Thanks for having me.
Nice talking, Harv. Keep dreaming, man.
Take care.
Okay, man.
All right. Good night. All right. Ready for another one?
I certainly am.
All right. Caller, good evening. Welcome to K-Talk.
Hi. I was wondering about dream interpretations, and whenever I have a dream, I do a Google search of my dream to find out what it means. And I was wondering what you recommend, what is the most reliable source for dream interpretation sources?
Very good question. What's your name?
My name's Kennedy.
Kennedy, nice. Kennedy, very good question, and here's what I have to say about that. You're talking about, let's say, a dream dictionary, for instance, right?
Yes, that's right.
And I think it's important. What I recommend for people is, first of all, you should find something that is agreeable to your bias, to your belief system. There are things out there relating to, you can find dream dictionaries that come from psychics, dream dictionaries that come from the study of psychology. You can find dream dictionaries that come from the study of Christianity, all these different bents and biases. So you may want to go into your section of the library that would have something based on what you resonate with in your belief system. That would be probably my biggest advice. So and the one thing about a dream dictionary is this. Dreams, in my mind, are more, I'll use the word spiritual than simply dot to dots of finding a dream dictionary and plugging in what each word and what each symbol means, because about the time that in your dream you think a wolf means this thing that the dream dictionary says a wolf might represent, it may not mean that particular time. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But at least the point is, dream dictionaries give us the idea of what dreams are about because it tells us the language, and the dream language is a symbolic language. The reason we're not understanding our bizarre, wild dreams that we talk about at over coffee at the coffee pot at work in the morning and so forth, we'll tell this strange dream, but unless we look at it symbolically, it just is bizarre and kind of funny. So it's important that you start looking at the symbols and trying to decipher what those symbolic images are like in your reality, in your present life, or the life of the dreamers. You see what I'm saying? So, Kennedy, it's hard for me to tell you which book, but I think if you go into an area where your belief system is where you're comfortable with, that's going to help you the best.
Okay, thank you. I have another question. There's like this reoccurring thing that happens in a lot of my dreams where I'm trying to run and I can't go as fast as I can in real life. I feel like I'm almost running through quicksand, like I'm stuck, and I'm trying to run either from something or just in general, and I'm going in slow motion. Is it just because I'm asleep?
No, I think sleep can retard those things, our functions sometimes, yes. But I think in general it's given you the picture of, again, what I would try, as I mentioned to Pat, I would try, and this is why if we journal our dreams over a period of time, you can start recognizing why you might have that dream and so forth. It may be because you feel like you're not getting anywhere at this time of your life. Like life is not just, you're not having your flying dreams right now that are euphoric and it's like, I'm on top of the world. Instead, there's maybe a struggle in the workplace, struggle in your marriage, struggle in a relationship, or something that is really being retarded or slowed down and has been more of a struggle. You're just not experiencing that in this season of time, possibly even the day before, and that's what might have triggered it. That's quite common that happens. So first of all, you can look at that and just ask yourself, have I been having a hard time in a particular area of my life? And I don't know if that applies to you if you remember the time you had your last dream like that, if that was the other night or whatever. Does that seem to fit at all?
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. Thanks for all your advice. I love the show.
Thanks for calling in.
Thanks for calling in. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Interesting. Dreams are, without a doubt, they're very interesting.
Absolutely. Talking about being on the fringe and stuff, I'm on the fringe with dreams, but what I found on the fringe with dreams is that there's a greater reality, greater truth, greater and much more health in my life by being out on the fringe with dreams than by not exploring them at all.
Right. Do some people, the question I had for you is, do some people sometimes get a little bit scared, Craig, when, with dreams? Do some of them ever, do they get scared? Do they shy away, from maybe they come to you, but you can tell they're a little fearful to get the interpretation?
Generally, fear is taken over by just plain inquisitiveness. I mean, people need the need to know. They may be somewhat fearful, but they need to know. And so that is stronger than the fear, and they're ready to face that by even asking me, or they're not going to ask me. So they already have resolved that fear by the time they come to me. Generally, it's people who they do believe that something is going on, and they just have to know what it is because they were so impressed or so burdened or so impacted by the magnitude of the dream that they just need to find some answers, no matter what the source may be. And this is where we get into even when we get into the warning dreams, precognitive dreams that warn us many times about tragedy that's about to happen. That this happens. It's a great reality. It's happened many times in people's lives, and there's things that we can do about this stuff. But that's one thing people are burdened by, would be just even getting precognitive dreams of disaster.
Wow. Another question for you, and then we're going to talk about your book.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Lorraine writes in and says, since dreaming is not limited to humans and humans perceive meaning from dreams, is it possible that other creatures try to take some kind of inner wisdom from dreaming? And I know I've got two dogs at home that are in my office at home, and when they sleep, they'll actually sometimes bark in their
yes.
when they're out, or you see their paws moving around and stuff like that. They're sometimes my Labradoodle. Sometimes he looks like he's having a seizure. His eyes are rolling all over the place.
Right. Well, there's a fantastic study that was done, I think it was in the 50s, in Switzerland by scientists. They, by the way, one fact about dreaming is you are paralyzed when you dream, predominantly. And the reason is, of course, is that you would probably jump and bump into the walls and probably maim your spouse by a slugfest or whatever if you weren't paralyzed when you dream, okay? So what they did with cats, they found this out, and they found the nerve center of where this all took place, and they somehow blocked the nerves or the sensations or something in the cat so that when it had dreams, it would not be paralyzed. And these cats were found to run around, and they would be like acting out these, like they're hunting for prey in their dreams, and they would see that being evidenced by the fact that they were not paralyzed. Thus, they believed that cats and animals maybe even increase and learn how to hunt prey from their dreams.
Really?
Yeah. That was done in the 50s, a very famous experiment that was done in Switzerland.
Wow. Very.
Yeah. Animals dream too.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Let's talk a little bit about your book.
Okay, great.
Without giving it away, first of all, where can people get your book?
People can get the book basically by going to the dreamclassguy.com website, dreamclassguy.com, and just scroll down until it says, order the book. You can find it on Amazon as well. And but it's called Sleeping with Your Eyes Open, Warning Dreams, and it is quite fascinating. And really, it's kind of the I've never seen any books out there that address this exclusively, and I think it's worth addressing because people are getting dreams of warning, and it would be good to know that they can be had and possibly what we can do about them.
Warnings as far as futuristic predictions?
Yes, we're talking about precognitive warnings here. Now, I mentioned to you about the September 11th, for instance. We also had in Minnesota, and I do I'll even go to people's homes and meet with groups and talk to them about dreams and in the area, in the state of Minnesota, go around where I can even go more frequently to go take people deeper into dreams. And but the state of, a number of years ago, there was a high school shooting in only about 15 miles away from where I lived. And I happened to go over to a friend's house. He and his wife, they have a business out, in the country, out of their home. Sat down with them, and the husband took a phone call, and this wife said, "Well, Craig, do dates mean anything?" She told me about a date. Then she told me about this dream, and based on the dream, I knew that there was something about that could happen, because the dream that she had 4 weeks ago had to do with the very morning we were at that date. She said, "Craig, today is September 24th. I said, "Oh my." And so I looked at this dream, and indeed it was a precognitive, prophetic, or future foretelling dream about this high school shooting that related to it, and boys being injured and taken to the hospital and all this stuff. And I said, "Listen, there is something going on today that would be, something where the boys are going to be injured." And there were other people that day who had the same thing. And actually, it was 45 minutes after she told me that dream, the shooting occurred and was on TV within 45 minutes.
Wow, interesting. You want to take another call?
Sure.
All right, hold on. Caller, good evening. Welcome to K-Talk. You're on with Craig.
Hey, Pat. It's Bill from New York. Hello, how are you doing, Craig?
Hey, Bill. Great. Good to hear your voice.
Good. I just wanted, you were just speaking about something. I want to ask you a couple of questions, but you were just speaking about the precognitive dreams.
Yes.
How does a person distinguish what is fact from fantasy when dealing with that kind of situation? I mean, that could be brushed off as just another dream. How would a person be able to identify that is something that is like a premonition?
Right. Good question, Bill. And two things. Number one, the dreamer herself in this case did not recognize it. I did, because I've become quite an expert in that area, and I seemingly can tell certain differences sometimes. And the other way to really know this for your own dreams would be you need to get familiar with your own dreams. You need to understand when you dream something, and you need to understand when the vivid dreams come, when something seems to be coming to you that's beyond yourself. You get a sensing, Bill, as you really get deeper and deeper into your dreams. Otherwise, you can become reckless, indeed. You can warn someone about something that's not going to happen, and it happens all the time, by the way, Bill. Okay? So,
are there any symbols that are in dreams that can help a person decipher their meaning?
Oh, every dream, every object in your dream can be symbolic, and with the need to understand. Are you talking about a particular dream?
Well, actually, in my case, I'm going to actually speak about something that I have a recurring dream.
Okay.
And it's about someone coming through a window, or I don't know if it's something, but through the window or the patio door that I have in the backyard. Okay. And it's a recurring dream. And at times, I also suffer from sleep paralysis.
Got it. Okay.
So, I'm thinking, maybe it's because originally I'm from New York City and I moved to a country region where it's darker, and maybe there's a fear there of not being used to living in a dark environment. But, yes, that's pretty much what I'm going through with my specific dream.
Got it. Okay. I may be able to help a little bit with this, shed a little bit of light. Now, and you might notice, Bill, Pat, that he said that this happened through through a window in the back patio door.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's all right, my bedroom window, obviously, is one. And then it's also a patio door which is not visible from where I'm residing at in my room. So it's something that I think in the back of my mind, this is an area where I don't know what's going on in that part of the house.
Yep.
And it's a glass patio door. It's very vulnerable.
Yep. Got it. Okay. Well, number one, sometimes it could be, there's a few different doors, if you will, that I could go into in interpreting this or taking a look at it. I would ask you if there's a certain area of your life that sometimes, Bill, or what you should ask yourself, is an area of my life that sometimes I feel extremely vulnerable in, okay? Not, beyond being out in a house or in New York City, but is there something inside of you that is likened to a threat of a thief or someone breaking in? Is there, or something in your past? You happened to say the first time that it was a back patio door. Sometimes, let me give you an illustration. Many times, the most common dream we have is that people say, "Well, I dreamt I was in my house," and basically, there again, nothing is absolute every time, but basically, when you're in your house, and many times then they say, "But it wasn't exactly my house." What you're describing is what's inside of you. You are a house, and this is the picture of what's going on inside of you, so to speak, in your thoughts, your feelings, emotions, and your life. And so with a house, many times people say, "I ran to the back door and looked outside." Well, if you go to the back door and look outside, it would indicate and symbolize that you're looking maybe at an issue of your past. It's what's behind you. Back door, so to speak, okay? Whereas your front door may talk about, I looked out my front door or the window or front window in the living room, and there we saw a tornado coming, may speak of maybe some tough times that are coming your way in the future, all right?
Right.
Now, I don't know if you just mentioned back door for whatever reason and you really didn't mean it, and if you didn't mean it, that's fine. But just by you saying that, I wonder if there's something from the past that's kind of haunting a situation here, like Pat had when growing up and so forth, where there's an area you just feel vulnerable, where people are going to break into your life, into your ego, into your, into your just who you are, and somehow inflict something, and somehow maybe just,
It's funny you say that because Pat is aware that currently I'm doing some sky watching. Okay. And back in the 90s, I had 2 sightings. So this is pretty much connected to that.
Okay.
And I don't want to get too off topic, but it's pretty much something that I'm drawn to. And in the back of my mind, I wouldn't mind having that experience to engage with some type of other species. But at the same time, it's like what you said, the front door is open, but maybe down deep inside my subconscious, I'm saying I fear that encounter. Right. And it's actually causing me to fear that something's coming in that I may not want to necessarily invite into my home.
That's right. Yeah.
So I can see the analogy, what you're saying, as far as that. That's also like what you're saying. It also deals with the person deep within themselves, whether it's a self-esteem, confidence. It's all connected to that stuff. It's maybe an anxiety that I've had that resides inside of me, and I definitely understand the point that you're trying to make as far as looking. It's the house, the home, the mind is your home.
That's right.
And I understand exactly what you're trying to interpret and try to explain to me. And Craig, I just want to hear one more thing. What do you think sleep paralysis has to do with when you're having vivid dreams?
Well, again, sleep paralysis may have to do with, like you said, with the, some life form that we don't know and understand. Well, with the lack of understanding, there's always a fear for things we don't understand. Paralysis, of course, could be for seeing something, and I've had sleep paralysis too, of something beyond the dimension that I'm in. I don't know if it was an angel that I saw one time. I don't know if it was a demon. I don't know what it was, but this thing came through the window, only the window turned into a door in my dream and walked right in and walked right up to me, and I was absolutely paralyzed. So, again, and sometimes even our imagination of things or life forms that are beyond what we are, and, of course, the unknown creates the fear.
Right. And do you think there's a metaphysical aspect of dreaming also, as far as maybe contacting other lost loved ones or divine guides or even dream sharing?
That's a loaded one.
I know. I like that last one before I hung up.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Bill. You dropped the bomb. Oh, boy. Wow. Can you rephrase the question?
Okay. Are you familiar with the metaphysic hypothesis, the theory that we have a higher consciousness and it can also be expressed in our dream state, where we can connect with that higher consciousness to a divine guide or a spirit or angel, however you want to deem it to be explained, or there's other instances where people believe that they can actually communicate with other people or even travel to a different setting during a dream state, etc.
Oh, yes. I believe in all that, no matter, without, like you said, the clumsiness of how you want to articulate that or what it might really be. But I believe of these possibilities, and I've experienced some of them.
Okay.
So definitely, I believe you don't have to get so crazy. We all understand that even communications with God or speaking to God or all this type of stuff, it's not impossible. We can have this type of relationship or communication with such a force, and I believe that that's possible. More than that, and I wasn't maybe going to mention this, but talking about fringe things, by paying attention to dreams over the years, I've recognized there are many types of consciousness in the night. There's the dream state, there's visionary states, there's snapshot visions, and there's what I call angelic visitations, which my wife and I, in our home, we get them probably 2 times a month over the last 14 years, but we won't get into it. But so I'm out there, but I'm out there because of things that I've experienced and have seen and witnessed in dreams and started to be able to discern and separate from just dreams and so forth. There is a whole another world that's going on if we would but pay attention.
I totally agree.
Okay, man. Well, that's great.
Greg, thank you so much for taking the time to answer my couple of questions, and I'm enjoying the show immensely. And
wonderful.
I will talk to you soon, my friend.
Yes,
you're not crazy, man.
I sent you that stuff I told I would send you too. By the way.
Okay, thank you. Great. Have a great night. Great to talk to you.
Take care, Billy.
Bye.
Interesting stuff, Craig. This whole topic is it can go so many different directions.
It can.
I remember years back people talking about dream interpretation, and it was not at the level we've talked here today or what you do. Right. It was more of, hey, what happened, and why do you think this happened? And one question that one of our listeners sent in from Ohio, Sky writes in and says, does Craig believe or think that we can travel to another planet or space in our dreams?
Okay. Well, there again, most of what I speak on has to do with my own experience and my own observation, either of my own experiences or my family, and sometimes friends or people that I've talked to, obviously. But with time travel, let's put it this way. And again, we talk about things. There are so many people who have experienced so many things on the fringe, as you would put it, that they are in their closets all over America, all over this world, Pat. And you know this stuff already. But the point is this, I had a dream once where I was meditating on a subject matter of independence in America and all this stuff being independent. And I fell asleep, and in my sleep, or actually, here's where I could say, well, in a dream, but I really don't believe it was a dream, because I know when I dream now, I know when I have, when I'm semi-conscious, I know when I get this, what I call an angelic visitation, something from beyond myself that comes to the room and wakes me up. I know many times there that I'm not dreaming, but one time I had an experience where I was picked up, so to speak, and I was taken over to England, and I came down on a hill in England in it was a farmyard area, and there was this fair maiden, and I was back like 200 years in time. And I asked this woman, or I talked to this woman, I said, boy, you must be really proud of your brother who left England to go to America to explore this unknown land and to be a pioneer and to travel across the seas into the unknown and to make his discovery and begin a life there. And she turned to me and said, no, my brother was a coward. And I was surprised. And I said, a coward? She said, yes. Actually, we needed him here. He was a strong man with much character, and we've been fighting religious persecution here in England, and he copped out. And he went to America because he was weak and because he couldn't take the persecution. And I was just baffled, and I went up and came back and ended up back in my bedroom. Okay? I mean, whether I went somewhere, went back in time, whatever, the point is there was an experience I had of someone in a previous time, so to speak. That was the conception. And it was not a dream. So, and people would say, you're absolutely crazy. Now you've gone off the deep end, Craig. And I go, listen, there's people who are experiencing things they cannot explain. And that's that's why your show is on, Pat, because there's things on the fringe, but people live and have experiences of fringe experiences that all over this world, and they're considered crazy, so they'll continue to stay in their closets with them.
Well, and I've said so many times as I've done this show, people are becoming more and more and more open-minded. They're stepping away, maybe not forgetting or giving up, but they're stepping out of traditional religious beliefs.
Yes.
Personal beliefs, things carried down through generations in the family. People are starting to ask questions why, and the connectivity, kind of like Harv said, it's all that connectivity. It's all kind of interconnected in one way, shape, or form. And I think we haven't even scratched the surface of the whole subject. But I think spiritually, people are starting to become more spiritual. I think to become more spiritual, step one is to say, could there be something out there? I have a feeling, or I believe there may be more to this whole picture.
And that's the funny point. The point is that, like I said, even taking Christianity, which is predominant in America or has been culturally over time, there's a claim of a supernatural life and belief system that's no longer supernatural because they don't believe the very things of something beyond, yet they're biblical, they're Bible-based, there's all this stuff that's right in their very religions, and they're not operating. And again, that's why I believe they've come to a point where religion has become so dead many times, so unattractive, and all we are is, people are playing this religious thing in religious games, and it's not real, so there's no respect for it.
Right.
When there are powerful things that we can do and navigate through and in that, like I said, I could go deeper and deeper and deeper with this stuff, but it's a lifestyle, and all I had to do was start paying attention. And it's not a matter of, dark forces taking over because I made myself vulnerable to those things. I simply started analyzing my dreams and looking at those things and found out that there is health and life, and there's good stuff in here, and there's knowledge and truth. And, it's kind of like I tell people, what do they say, the percentage of our brain that man uses? Remember the figure is 10%, right? You've heard this, right? Mm-hmm. And I go, well, wait a minute. Well, I don't know if you believe in that God created us or we evolved. It doesn't matter to me, but are you saying that we have a brain that we only use 10%? It doesn't make sense to me. And I believe there's been such a dumbing down of mankind over the years, and that partially because we have reasoned out with our own minds these other paranormal things, including dreams and visions and all those things that brought us knowledge and truth and helped us walk in a greater mind. And to the point we're just so dumbed down and just believing the things we see physically. And I think it's a lower type of living, personally, from what I've experienced.
Do you think that, and this is a question that somebody sent in, was just going to, there's a couple of them that were sent in, but this was one of them. Do you believe that, think possibly, if there is truly interdimensional worlds, I don't want to say travel, but let's say interdimensional worlds or multiple dimensions, that dreaming and being in a dream state could possibly be something that opens those doors to other dimensions?
Sure.
I mean, that's really deep now, but
yeah, let's put it this way: if you started owning your dreams and would start, walking out a dream journey of really grasping onto your dreams and so forth, it will naturally or supernaturally or somehow in a greater dimension take you to more things that are offered by even opening yourself up or observing your own dreams. It's a whole other world. See, differently than even another dimension, let me give you one other idea. We hear about the different dimensions, but I'll tell you this. To me, it's become this. I live in a world that simultaneously I'm living in a different world than what many people are living in, because I'm seeing the same world with different eyes than the majority of people see the world in, which is, they only see the world through this literal and lineal mindset and observation. By dreams and so forth, it's added a dimension such that actually, simultaneously, it creates a whole different world, and I see the world in a completely different way because I interpret the signs differently.
Gotcha.
I mean, and there again, that demands more explanation, but I'm just telling you, the world is much more different for me now as a result of just really having I've been so fortunate to have walked into this realm that I realized, it's the same world. It's just just seeing it completely differently, and I believe that world I'm looking at is far more real, true, life-giving, has more answers, and gives me more knowledge than anything in the natural.
We've got a couple minutes left, Craig.
Sure.
The 2 hours went way too quick. What's on the horizon for you? I see that you travel and give talks.
I travel and give talks. Sure, I do teaching and so forth. I do need to get more online with different things. There is one called Angelic Visitations in the Night, and we're not recognizing visitations, and I don't care where you think they come from, but we're not recognizing these visitations mainly because we don't know what to look for. Just like we don't know the language of dreams, we're just not looking for, we just have preconceived notions of what these visitations and things would be like, and they just serve us in very nice little ways. They're not, it's nothing, it's just, well, it becomes extremely natural. But anyway, that's my next book. There are governmental people, mayors and all kinds of things, that people in place of the government that also have dreams, and I believe sometimes they're getting dreams that would help them and help our government, help our lifestyle and whatever. And I would I don't know if I'll ever go there, but it's another area that is just really empty of people helping interpret dreams of people in high positions even.
Right. It's time for them to be more open-minded. Craig, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. It was an honor to have you, and I want to get you back on after the first of the year because we got so many questions sent in, and we only touched the surface of the whole list. And you can give us, I'm sure between now and the holidays, you'll be meeting a lot more people, doing a lot more interpretations and diagnosis, and I would love to hear more about it and just get you back on and continue to talk about this subject. It's fascinating.
Love to continue to share with you, Pat. It's been a pleasure, and listen, keep doing the good work you do. I really appreciate you and what you have to offer, and just remember, the Fringe is the place of reality.
That's right. Anything shrouded in just a little bit of mystery. Hey,
That's
take
right.
care, Craig. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pat.
Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.